Christmas, Halloween, Christmas, Halloween, 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 Halloween. Welcome to another spooky episode of Whining About History, the women's history podcast where two besties with breasties whine about women from history that you probably haven't heard of, may not want to have heard of, but are gonna fucking do it anyway because this is your choice. This is a choice you're making. You can't blame us for your choices. You're an adult. Okay. And if you're a child, then adults in your life are failing you. Okay. Welcome to Whining About History. I'm Emily.
I'm Kelly.
Have an empowered day. Bye. I don't know. I was like, I totally lost my train of thought on that intro. I just kind of, I spiraled. It was a very clear spiral that I went on. But yeah,
it's okay.
That is that intro is dedicated to Caitlin, sister of the podcast, and her oldest W.
Yep.
Who
their youngest also W.
Yes, but this is to their oldest W, whose favorite movie was at one point Nightmare Before Christmas, but he was so young that he couldn't figure out the name of the movie.
Thing.
So he would just go Christmas, Halloween, and now even Egg. Every time we see Christmas or Halloween decorations, he just starts going Christmas, Halloween, Christmas, and it's it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So yeah.
I do love that.
That was also the child that had to explain what being bi was.
Yep.
And he looks at his mom and goes, bye. And I'm like, is this child listening to our podcast? Because he absolutely should not be. But if you are, hi. Love you, little bud.
Or at least two sister of the podcast.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Love you, sis. Oh, my goodness. Well, Kelly, we have just gotten back from... I just popped my cherry, my Total Wine cherry.
It was beautiful.
It was amazing. There were videos taken. I'm just going to say, I don't understand how people take videos in stores so often, because every time I whipped out my phone, everyone was like, are you okay?
Yeah, there was a lot of stares. It was kind of funny.
We walked in and immediately the security guard was like,
okay,
what did he say?
He was teasing you. And because he's like, I don't want to be in your video. That's all he said. He didn't say we couldn't video or anything, which is what I thought he said at first. And then my brain comprehended what he was saying. And all he said was I can't be in your video.
Yeah.
And then he smiled and let us know he was teasing us. But I
caught the nonverbal cues that whatever he said, he was joking. But I was immediately walking in the store, I'm like, okay, so it is weird to be taking a video of anywhere you are. Well, even though I see these videos online constantly.
Well, and it was funny because I even mentioned Emily. I was like, we might need to check it might not be allowed, because there are some stores that are very much you cannot film in here.
Yeah.
I don't think Total Wine cared. But it was almost without fail, almost every time Emily would start filming, within a minute, someone a sales associate would be like, do you guys need any help? Without fail.
I think we've cracked a life hack. If you are ever in a store and you can't find an associate to help you, just start taking video. An associate is going to be all up in your business immediately. Mm-hmm. Not that we're complaining, because the staff at our Total Wine.
They were so nice.
Oh my God. God bless Jeff.
I was saying, Jeff gave us a wine tasting.
He gave us a wine tasting. He was such a lovely person. God bless Jeff. And that is
whiskey, too.
And whiskey. And then there was that other dude who was we were wandering around. And he's like, you ladies are looking for something, and I think I know exactly where it is.
And I'm like, I do too.
I said, I do too. It's right here, because we were right in front of the whiskey that Kelly was going to buy. Yeah, it was hilarious. So that is how we were introduced to the wine that we are drinking today. It is not inherently a spooky Halloween wine, but
really.
It's black and dark like our souls.
And resealable.
So I can take it home in my trunk in the most legal way possible. Mm-hmm. So it's Serrafiore, product of Italy. May have been better for last week's episode with the Italian bride, who has a name, Giulietta. So this is it's just called black.
Yeah. So it's a little Halloween-y.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. We actually tried a few different variations of this brand, and they were all really good. And this one just really hit. So
The other ones were much sweeter, like more summery wines.
Yes, which don't get me wrong, I will fuck with every day of the week. This felt a little more appropriate. So, Serrafiore Black. This blend, with its intense, dark colors, is very refreshing. Natural flavors of red berries and the perfect amount of sweetness.
What are you doing?
Don't question it. Just let me cook. Serrafiore Black is rich, full-bodied, and elegant. Serve chilled with fresh fruit over ice with your favorite cheeses, spicy cuisines, or as an aperitif. Women should not drink while pregnant. Yeah. So that's it. It's a semi-sweet.
Yeah, we've tried. We got to try this in store.
It's called a low alcohol wine cocktail with natural flavors, and it is clocking in at 5.5% ABV. So it is lower alcohol content than a lot of the wines we drink. It's like it's about cut in half. That feels good.
That feels good.
That feels good for right now.
Yeah,
I'm okay with this. So it's got a very pretty emblem on the front. It kind of reminds me. I'm getting big Catholic Church energy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
The sense of opulence and decoration. Mm-hmm. Like, I know the Protestants were like, Jesus wouldn't be into all this gold and jewels.
No, like literally he flipped tables at like people doing that shit.
Logically, I agree with. I was also raised Catholic and I love me some blanks. So, shit, what are we cheersing? Cheers to Jeff.
Cheers to Jeff.
Jeff
Not that he's ever going to like listen to this podcast, but cheers to Jeff anyways.
Jeff and all the staff at Total Wine. There was a woman, I didn't quite get her name, but we were like, do you have Georgian amber wine? And she's like, oh my God.
She's like, yes, it's delicious.
It's delicious. We were talking for like 3 whole minutes, which is more social interaction than I normally get with strangers. So, no, seriously, Total Wine, worth the hype.
Hell yeah. Glad we finally have one.
Oh, I can't believe it took me so long to get there. But it's on the opposite side of town.
It is. It is on the far end of town.
And I say that as if we live in a big town. Like, it takes maybe 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes to get from one end of the city to the other, depending on traffic.
Where I live, which is on like the far north end of town, to like where Total Wine is, which is like the far south side of town, it's probably 20 minutes. You're probably more like 15.
Yeah. And I've got like 20 liquor stores within walking distance.
So, but like when you want the selection, it's worth it.
I was also very impressed with their selection of THC bevies.
Yeah, they have like a lot of like local breweries and wine selections, and like they do a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah, no, that was really awesome.
If you have a Total Wine near you, might be worth checking out.
You know, if you just have a Jeff near you, because they're not exclusive to Total Wine. You can find it. I will say one of the local liquor stores.
Definitely better than Josh.
Jeff. He's not Josh. Mm-hmm. One of the local liquor stores I go to, there's a young woman who works there, and she's always got like really like fucking killer eyeshadow. Like it's blended and like ombre or rainbows. And I'm always like, honey,
like, I want to be
you. Got it going on. And then she's always like, let me show you some shit. Or like, she'll see what I'm looking for. She's like, really, do you know we have this? And she's fantastic.
That's awesome.
So Kelly, you go first. You do get to go first. And I didn't forget who goes first for once. And it was amazing.
For twice. You're 2 for 2 right now.
2 for
282.
Yeah.
Good job.
It's a journey.
It's like 1% or something.
You know
less
what?
Than that. No,
even one shuffle towards your goal is better than nothing. I think a wise therapist once said.
You're using my own words against me. It is
always
0.007 etc. %.
7 is my favorite number. 7 is my favorite number. I just got to keep that average and I'm good.
I am whining about a woman most people probably don't want to hear about, or maybe have heard about. Velma Barfield.
Is that bitch in the orange sweater who keeps losing her glasses?
No, different Velma.
Okay.
Very different Velma.
Okay.
This one is known as...
I love that nerdy little lesbian.
Death Row Granny.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I have questions about that nickname because...
When
I hear that nickname, I get a very specific picture in my head.
Tell me she's 25
No,
and they're calling her an old lady.
She's not that old either. I don't know. So, Velma Margie Barfield was born in 1932 in rural South Carolina.
Mistake. Sorry, I'm coming for South Carolina real hard.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So, there is a little bit of a trigger warning kind of for the first few minutes of my story. Because Velma did not grow up in a good household. She grew up poor in a very strict and abusive household. Her father was very controlling and abusive, and her mother was passive and didn't do anything about it. Her childhood was rough.
It's
like
almost,
the vibe was like you smile incorrectly and you get beat.
It's almost like those Old Testament childhoods don't produce functional, stable, well-adjusted people.
So, like many women in the mid-20th century that came from households like that, she married young. She married at 17. She wed a man named Thomas Burke, thinking she'd escape her crappy life by getting married.
Very Victoria Woodhull.
Oh, yeah. And briefly, the couple was happy. They had 2 children, and things were going okay. However, Thomas became an alcoholic and became abusive in his own right. And Velma would go on to have her own issues, too. So she was also not a perfect person.
Well, she's also a child of abuse who definitely did not have access to therapy.
So she would go on to have a hysterectomy in the late 1960s. So in her 30s, it sounds like it was her choice.
Yeah, but
it
that's
led
still tough.
To a lot of back pain for her, which she ended up being prescribed tranquilizers and painkillers for. And she got hooked.
Wow.
Like, you know, I'm talking like hide the pills because your friend's coming over hooked.
It's almost like the opioid epidemic had historical roots in reality, and maybe we should have seen that coming and not let doctors prescribe them like fucking Pez.
Exactly. So unfortunately, their addictions kind of escalated together. Thomas with his alcoholism, Velma with her pills, and the complaints about Thomas's alcoholism, which is valid. And it unfortunately turned their home into a very bitter and unhappy place. It's interesting because I read that they had 2 children, but I couldn't find a lot about them. And I'm guessing based on the rest of the story, that might be why. But I just found that very interesting. Like I couldn't find a lot about what happened to their children. Like if they got pulled out of the home, if they survived, if like I couldn't find any of it.
I imagine in this situation where both of the parents are obviously coping in deeply unhealthy ways, the children are a complete afterthought.
Well, I'm also wondering, like, obviously we know she ends up on death row. Kids maybe changed their names and were like, do not put me in the papers kind of a thing.
I mean, best case scenario, they dipped
exactly
and separated.
So yeah, very unhappy home. Things weren't going great. On April 4th, 1969, so Velma's 37 at this time, Thomas passed out at their home and Velma took her children to like go out and get away for the day. When they returned, their house was on fire.
Oh, shit!
And the resulting fire left Thomas dead.
Oh! It's a good thing they just happened to be out of the house.
Very lucky.
Wow. God works in mysterious ways.
Right? Very mysterious ways. So that is literally the last like I found of her children was like that story.
I really hope they went to live with relatives.
That's what I'm hoping
something.
too.
But like not the bad relatives who abused Velma.
Exactly. After her husband's death, Velma would remarry a widower, so like someone in her same situation, named Jennings Barfield. That's the last name.
Okay.
The union would last less than a year and apparently was tumultuous, not because he was a bad guy, but because he had a problem with her habit of abusing pills.
Because she had a substance addiction.
Exactly.
Yeah, she has substance use disorder.
The reason the marriage lasted less than a year is because he would actually die of heart complications in 1971. And yeah,
Okay, but like, would he?
Yeah. Husband number 2 out the window.
But like, as far as we know, he did die of complications?
We'll talk about that. Okay. After this, Velma kind of started spiraling harder. And this is where I'm assuming if the children were still with her, they maybe went somewhere else. Mm-hmm. She temporarily moved back in with her mother. It doesn't sound like her father was still alive because it just said her mother. So her mother's name is Lillian. And her mother would often complain about Velma's erratic behavior because of the pills. And at the time Velma was staying with her, Lillian also complained of frequent illnesses. She would get symptoms such as intense diarrhea, vomiting, and nausea. And she'd be sick for a few days and then she would fully recover. Velma would end up moving out a little bit later, but she would go back to visit her mom on Christmas. And during that visit, Lillian would again fall ill with similar symptoms. And she would be hospitalized and end up dying in December. Doctors said it was natural causes because apparently in the 70s, anytime somebody old dies, it's just like, well, it was their time. She was very sick.
I'm glad you said 70s because I was imagining like 1920s era. Yeah, 1970s. So this is 70s. People know science exists. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, how do you know how old the mother was?
No. I didn't look it up.
But if she was older, they were probably like,
exactly.
Bitches be dying.
At this
IDK.
Time, Velma was somewhere in her 40s, so probably 60s or 70s.
That's not that old for the 70s. I don't know what the life expectancy was.
I think it was in the 80s.
I will say also, it sounds like Velma came from a pretty disenfranchised background. Yeah, poor.
Exactly. So they were probably also just like, we're not going to waste our money and energy on this.
They're like, this is what happens.
So after her mother passed, Velma was arrested and put in jail.
Oh, for what?
For foraging. She was convicted of 7 counts of writing bad checks and sentenced to 6 months in prison.
Oh, forgery.
Forgery, yeah.
Sorry, you said foraging. I was like,
I mean, it is still foraging.
No, it's not.
You forage checks.
No, you forge checks.
Sorry, I added an extra A.
You forage for mushrooms.
I mean, maybe she was doing that too. She was foraging for pills.
She was looking for checks growing in the wild woodlands.
She was counterfeiting.
Okay, she was writing bad checks.
She was sentenced to 6 months in prison, but would be released after serving only 3. So, in 1976, so like a year-ish after she got out of jail, Velma began caring for the elderly because apparently background checks in the 70s were the worst or non-existent.
I was about to say, like, well, she wasn't convicted of a violent crime, but
like that
financial abuse
is the number one thing in the elderly.
Yeah, it's incredibly common. It's an incredibly common crime to be committed amongst elderly people. So if this bitch is passing bad checks already, yeah, let's put her with a vulnerable population that she can take advantage of financially.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if she was maybe like privately hired or something instead of like through a company.
I will say, I know background checks are pretty common nowadays, especially for people who work with vulnerable populations like children, the elderly, the ill.
It might not have been in the 70s.
Definitely not in the 70s. Also, sometimes I wonder if background checks just give us a false sense of security, because you still hear stories today of someone who definitely should not have been working with a vulnerable population.
Still do, yeah.
Working with a vulnerable population and it went wrong. So
that's true. So she began working for a couple specifically named Montgomery and Dolly Edwards.
That sounds bougie.
About a year into working with them, maybe a little less, Montgomery fell ill and would pass away.
Damn it.
And just over a month later, Dolly began falling ill too, with identical symptoms to Velma's mother.
Oh.
And she would die just like less than a month. Just a month more after her husband. She died on March 1st, 1977.
Around this tea table, we stand a good Dolly. Right? You do not do this.
I know.
You bitch.
Also, at this time, Velma's 45, just to like keep us on our timeline here.
Again, not old.
No. So after the passing of the first couple she was caretaking, she waited a little bit of time. And then Velma took another caretaking job, this time for a 76-year-old man named Record Lee. Woman, Record Lee.
Great name.
Who had broken her leg.
Okay, I have a quick question. If you were in a caregiving profession where you were dealing with populations that die, sick, elderly, etc., can you file for unemployment when that person dies?
I have no idea.
I guess I just never thought about that because I think of most people working in that kind of industry, working for an agency.
I think if you have the receipts and stuff to show yes, I was employed, I would think so.
But if you're a private contractor, I don't think you can apply for unemployment.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've only had to apply for unemployment once, and that was during the pandemic because I got knocked down to part-time.
Oh, I got laid off.
You got full on furloughed.
Furloughed. I was like, I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah. You got full on furloughed. I worked half days for a month.
Yeah.
It was great.
So Record had broken her leg, and her husband was home too, but obviously he's also in his 70s. So Velma's not full-time live-in caretaking, but coming in caretaking, helping around the house. On June 4th, 1977, Lee's husband, John Henry, died after having excruciating stomach pains in his chest, along with vomiting and diarrhea. Again, kind of blamed on natural causes.
But the guy who wasn't even sick or injured?
Yep. The person she was not caretaking just lived in the house.
Oh, my God.
Around this time, Velma started dating a man named Roland Stewart Taylor, who was also, weirdly enough, a relative of the Dolly that died. So, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
That's the meet cute that no one asked for.
During this time, Velma began forging checks again. Forging, not foraging for herself.
I'm sorry. That is
I'm sorry.
I want art of Kelly in the woods plucking checks from the brush.
Come on, money trees are real.
Are they? Can I grow one?
There is something called a money tree. It doesn't grow cash.
Oh,
but
well,
it's
yeah.
called a money tree.
Yes.
Anyways, so she had begun forging checks again out of his account this time. And so Velma pulled a very Chicago move, like the movie, and mixed arsenic-based rat poison into his beer and tea because, some guys just can't hold their arsenic.
Okay, my first thought was he ran into my arsenic. He ran into my arsenic 10 times.
No, Emily. That's nice.
I did an oral interpretation of that song.
Love that song.
In speech class and made direct eye contact with students in the class.
I love you.
Kelly and I were just talking today about running into kids you went to high school. But kids you went to high school with and they remember you and you don't remember them. And my default is, I'm so sorry for whatever I did to you. High school was a depression fugue state and I really don't remember a lot of it. That's why I apologize, because I was doing shit like that in class for an assignment.
Yeah.
I was graded on that.
Whereas
and
I'm
I
just
got an A.
I'm sorry I don't remember you because I'm shit at remembering people.
Yeah. No, when someone
also, why do you remember me?
Well, that was my thing. I was like, I had my own little group of weird, nerdy people. I apologize. I was definitely not my best self in high school. And whenever someone whose name I doesn't register to me at all, like a local police officer who I run into at a community event who recognizes me, I'm like, I'm sorry, Ossifer, for whatever I did to you
in high school
that made you recognize me over
did he
10
ever
years
tell
later.
You?
No.
Oh, that's the worst.
No, I just was like, oh yeah, sorry, I don't remember a lot from high school. How you been?
I love that you told an officer I don't remember a lot from high school.
Yeah, but he can't get me on that. Here's the funny thing. I didn't do anything in high school. I wasn't on drugs. I wasn't drinking. I was just really depressed and really anxious. I was in and out of Generos. I was having hip surgeries for blood clots.
Yeah,
it was a rough time.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
what
back
were we
to
talking
Velma.
about?
Velma.
Oh yeah, this bitch.
We were talking about Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. Be right into my arsenic.
You know, some guys just can't hold their arsenic. It's my favorite part of the dance because they're like on the floor and she like pulls it out of his mouth.
That was really cool.
Part. Anyways, so Roland would die on February 3rd, 1978, while Velma was trying to, unsexy finger quotes, nurse him back to health. Roland's death raised a lot of eyebrows to the point where someone finally did an arsenic. Someone finally did an autopsy on one of these people. That autopsy revealed arsenic poisoning. Someone did an arsenic.
Someone did. The autopsy revealed that someone had done an arsenic.
Apparently the not very strong wine.
Tell me she was convicted of doing an arsenic.
Yes, she was. That's exactly what the judge said.
Oh my fucking God. Seriously, the funny shit that we just stumble into because we have no idea what we're doing is the best.
Yeah.
Somebody did an arsenic.
Someone did an arsenic. So, yeah, the autopsy revealed arsenic poisoning, and like that was determined to be cause of death. So Velma was arrested for murder. For red rum.
It feels weird that she went after the less vulnerable person.
Well, it's because she thought he had figured out she was forging checks and was going to turn her in.
Okay. So this was a
self-preservation.
I see.
But because he was not of the vulnerable population, it raised a lot more eyebrows.
Like people knew he was in good
Exactly.
shape. He just like taking care of someone with a broken leg when you're in your 70s. That's hard.
Exactly. So, like I said, she was arrested. And after her arrest, they were like, a lot of people in her life have died. That's a little weird. And so, for some reason, of all the bodies that they chose to exhume, they chose her second husband, Jennings. And he was exhumed.
Well, because he wasn't burnt to a goddamn
crisp. But they could have chose like Montgomery or Dolly or the other person's husband. You know, like there were options.
I will say, good on them for going with the husband.
Yeah, it makes them probably because like I kind of wonder if maybe he didn't have any other family and so they didn't have to get anyone's permission.
It could have been, the least logistically complicated.
Because he was a widower. So it's
That's
like,
right.
And then Velma was his other significant other.
Yeah.
So they exhumed Jennings' body and they found that she had done an arsenic.
She had done an arsenic.
However, Velma like vehemently denied having murdered him. However, she did confess to other murders.
Hey, I didn't do that murder. I did all of these that you didn't think I did, but I didn't do this one.
She confessed to her mom's murder, Dolly's murder, not necessarily Dolly's husband, but Dolly's murder, and then John Henry Lee, the husband of the broken leg person, and the murder she was actually convicted of.
That is always one of the most interesting ways that guilty people try to get out of something.
Yeah, like I didn't do this, but I did do this.
Yeah, or that they'll confess to something lesser
to try to get them to like stop looking.
Right. They're like, no. You think I'm shady? Yeah, I am, because I did this small thing, but I didn't do this big thing you're accusing me of. But the more you drill them, the closer you get to, yes, they did the big thing that you thought of. Yeah, She's like, I didn't do this big thing, but I did
these other big things.
I did a cornucopia of other big things. I did a lot of arsenics.
Yeah.
I'm not guilty of this one, but I'm guilty of all these other arsenics, but you haven't charged me with those yet.
Well, and even though she confessed to 3 other murders, she was only tried and convicted of Roland's murder. But yeah, she went full on Victorian era murderess with her choice of arsenic because nothing says Southern Gothic like sweet tea and rat poison.
That's gotta be a cocktail.
I mean, not actual rat poison.
No, but I mean, there is a bar somewhere in this world
that serves something called sweet tea and rat poison.
Yes.
Probably.
And I bet it's mid. Actually, I'm not a tea person.
I like peach tea with like peach schnapps or peach whiskey.
Ooh,
Like
I
it's
bet that's really good.
Yeah.
I've got that peach bird dog whiskey.
I bet that would
we
be
should
really
do.
good.
You should bring over some peach tea because we had like really good tea at that place in Chinatown in San Francisco.
Probably some of the best tea I've ever had.
Like I've only had 2 teas in my life that I didn't hate.
I'll bring a good peach tea with me.
The first one I don't remember. The second one was straight up authentic Chinese jasmine tea.
So good. And we even asked, we were like, where did you get it from? And they were like, China.
Yeah, because we were like, where can I buy this tea in Chinatown? And they were like,
they're like, no, we get it right from China.
And most of the other places do. And if they do sell it, they sell it at a significant markup because it's expensive to import. So they were like, but if you're really nice to the shopkeepers, sometimes they'll tell you where they order it from.
And then
get
you
there.
Can order it from
and
we
didn't
like this whole thing.
We didn't go that far.
Like we found one tea. Well, I saw one tea shop on our walk back, and that was about it.
We had other things that we wanted to do in San Francisco. We didn't go that far. I would not hate going back and like getting really into the Chinatown scene.
Yeah. So as she's like in court and everything, Velma claims that she never meant to kill anyone. She just wanted to make them sick enough to stop complaining or fighting with her or bothering her. To just like let her have her addiction, which like that's not how medicine or poisoning someone works. That's how murder works. So
that's how doing an arsenic works.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you know how you give someone enough poison to keep them from bothering you? You kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you forge checks.
So for the next 6 years, I have a thing for like things happening over 6-year periods.
The fuck?
Velma's attorneys would file multiple appeals to try to overturn her conviction. So she got convicted. She received a death row sentence, or she received a sentence of murder not murder.
First degree murder?
I was trying to think of what they call it. What do they call? Like she received a death row sentence for asphyxiation, which I was like,
oh,
that's an option. I'm like, South Carolina, what is wrong with you? That's not what she ends up getting, but I was like, what? I was very confused. Like I was reading an actual like court document and it said death by asphyxiation was like how they meant to kill her. And I was like,
oh, sorry. I thought you meant that's what she was charged with.
No, that was like her sentence.
Oh, I see.
But I was like, I know some states, like 3 states still do like firing squads.
Mm-hmm. I think Idaho is one of them.
I didn't realize that some states have an option to just get like choked out.
I'm very, okay. I'm just going to say it right now. I am morally and logistically against the death penalty. Do I understand the desire to just like toss someone in the bin because they are a piece of shit who has clearly shown everyone that they cannot exist with other people? Totally. We as a society do not get it right 100% of the time. We let our emotions and biases get in the way, and we sentence people to death who maybe have extenuating circumstances, who I'm not saying don't deserve punishment and retribution, but maybe don't deserve death.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I stand. There are definitely people I'm not sad to see gone.
Oh, I suppose like death by asphyxiation would be hanging.
Oh, but yeah, I'm curious about the logistics of what that would be. Wow, that's old school.
It's still done in
Wyoming.
Let's see. Maybe that one is done now. Death row.
So the last death sentence in Minnesota was hanging.
Well, that's because we abolished it.
No, I know, but we abolished it very early
for a while, and then they brought it back.
Yeah.
Texas and Iowa.
Texas makes sense. Iowa, slightly surprised.
That says historical use. Sorry, modern status. So limited use in New Hampshire.
Really?
That is, you have to apply. Like you have to be the one to be like, I want to die by hanging. You have to like apply to be killed that way.
Dude, I've been rejected by a lot of people in a lot of jobs. Can you imagine applying to be killed by hanging and them rejecting you?
That'd be interesting. That would be very interesting.
I would just be like, I mean, yeah, fuck me entirely, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, no, so that used to be the primary method of murder, state murder in the U.S.
State-sanctioned murder.
Now it's lethal injection. The last prisoner to be hung in the United States was in 1996.
Wow.
And he was only the third since 1965 prior to that.
Wow.
But the two before him were both in Washington State. And then he was in Delaware. So yeah, I don't think anyone uses it anymore, but apparently you can apply to do it in one state.
God, what does that application look like?
Well, I mean, a lot of states have two choices, and sometimes you can pick. But now I just figured out, yeah. So, like, originally, I think she must have been sentenced to death by hanging instead of asphyxiation, which I thought was weird. But, so for 6 years, her attorneys filed appeals every year to try to overturn her conviction, but they all failed. Their goal wasn't to, like, have her exonerated for murder. It was just to take death row off the equation and change it to life in prison.
And that's typically what it is. And I don't know if this was the case at the time, but today, a sentence of death triggers an automatic appeal. There have been very rare cases where the person who is sentenced is like...
You can say, I don't want it, but you always get it.
They still do the appeal, though.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we don't trust you. You were just convicted and sentenced to death. We don't trust anything coming out of your mouth. But that was one of the things with the recent really tragic Idaho student murders.
Oh, yeah.
The person that was deemed responsible... I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I don't really care. He's a stupid little whingy piece of shit. He pleaded guilty to take the death penalty off the table because Idaho has the death penalty.
Yep.
They have a firing squad because it's fucking Idaho.
I mean, they have another option too, but yeah.
I think he was gonna just get shot to death.
Probably.
No one was gonna like step in and help that guy because he's a fucking piece of shit.
Nobody would want to.
I know there were members of the family that were really upset about that because they did want him to get the death penalty and they wanted him to face those consequences. I acknowledge that and I understand where those feelings are coming from. I will say, again, a death penalty triggers an automatic appeal and they would be in the courts for decades.
Is it Iowa?
Idaho. They would be in the courts for decades dealing with this fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, they have lethal injection or firing squad.
Yeah.
Lethal injection is primary method. However, if the director of Department of Corrections determines it's unavailable, you get moved to firing squad. So he might have gotten lethal injection.
This was such a high profile thing. I really imagine they would have gotten medieval with it.
There's a asterisk. Here's the asterisk. In March of 2025, the Idaho legislature passed they passed a bill that goes, so if he's going to due to be executed after July 1st of 2026, they're switching it. Firing squad is going to be their primary method with lethal injection being their secondary.
Oh, wow. So he definitely would have gotten.
Yeah, depending on because usually you're on death row for a number of years. So yeah, he would have gotten firing squad.
This way, so the guilty plea was life in prison, no chance of parole, no appeals, no nothing. This guy is in prison. He's never getting out. It's over. So as far as the legal proceedings go.
Yeah, so most states have moved to almost have lethal injection only.
Yeah.
Apparently in Washington, you can also request to be hanged.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, back to Velma.
What does the application look like? But I'm just saying, I get the sense of retribution.
I do.
I also think that there is a blessing in legally, this is over.
Yeah.
Legally,
exactly.
Where everyone is done.
Exactly.
Including him. He's toast. He's never getting out. He has no other chances.
Life for him.
He has no other chances. He's never getting out of prison. He's done. We are always going to know where that son of a bitch is.
Exactly.
And he's never getting out.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, every couple of years, there's an appeal or a parole hearing, and the families have to get together and recount the worst.
I didn't think they had to. I thought a lot of times it's just like the prisoner and the parole board.
Well, the families often go to appeal for the person to stay in prison.
I think parole.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, because they say, please don't give this person parole because they ruined my fucking life.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but yeah, for 6 years, they tried to overturn her conviction. They failed. Their main argument was basically like, she was doing a lot, like, they kind of made, like, not quite an insanity plea, but, like, a half one of, like, she was using a lot of drugs at the time. Like, she wasn't in her right mind. But,
again,
didn't work.
Extenuating circumstances, she is also still responsible for her behavior and actions.
So... yeah, she was set to die by lethal injection. All her appeals worked. Prior to her death, like the day before, she was able to, like, she wasn't really allowed to receive visitors because she's a murderer. But she was able to get like final visits from family members, and told one of them, when I go into that gas chamber, which it wasn't, it was lethal injection, at 2 a.m., which why? It's my gateway to heaven, honey. You're not going to heaven. She refused offers from prison officials for a specialty prepared last meal and chose a can of Coke and some cheese doodles.
What the fuck are cheese doodles?
I think they're kind of like Cheetos.
What? You know, they say
they're kind of like Cheetos.
They say you get weird pregnancy cravings. Apparently, you get weird cravings when you're about to die.
Well, and I like, part of me feels like, was that just her like, oh, I'm not going to get special treatment. I'm just going to do like the basic thing. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, one, they're not like, they have a budget. Like yes, there are some like weird things people have asked for their last meals. And sometimes when they're like high profile prisoners, they'll get it. But like, normally people are like, oh, I want like McDonald's for the last time, or like, I haven't had a really good steak in a lot, like fucking a can of Coke and cheese doodle. That'd probably be me. I'd be like, can I just have like a box of Cheez-Its?
I have to say, like, sometimes when that craving hits you, okay, you're just like, I really want fucking trail mix right now. I would stab a bitch for some trail mix. I would commit an arsenic for some trail mix or some Coke and a bag of cheese doodles.
Right.
Also, I was listening to this thing. It was talking about, there was a study that said people who claim that they have been forgiven by God are less likely to actually seek forgiveness or redemption, or they're like, nope, I checked that box. God forgives me, so I don't have to change anything now. That's what this makes me think of.
I'll get into
whenever people like this are like, God forgives me, and I'm like, you don't even fucking know what the hell God is thinking. Ruby Rubin does not speak to you.
I kind of like skipped her time in prison, but I'll talk about it in a second. So in 1984, Velma was executed by lethal injection in the state of North Carolina. Supposedly before she went to the execution, they're always offered last words. And apparently she said, I know that everybody has gone through a lot of pain, all the families connected, and I am sorry. And I want to thank everybody who has been supporting me all these years. Not terrible last words. But she was executed. She was the first woman executed in the U.S. after the death penalty was reinstated in 1976.
Oh, it was federally repealed before then?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Obviously, this led to like a huge media circus because there's this like weird contradiction of this sweet looking church going granny who killed 6 people. She was only 52. They call her the death row granny. And I'm like, that's not that old.
I will say, looking at photos of her,
she does like have a very like classic granny look, but I'm still like, 52 is not that old.
She's a rough 52.
Yeah, because she was doing pills.
Yeah, because she had a drug addiction.
But so those 6 years she spent in prison, she did become, which happens quite often in prison, like a born again Christian.
God damn it. It's like a bingo card with these people.
She led Bible studies, and it was actually in prison that she earned the nickname Death Row Granny. She gained supporters who helped her campaign against her execution. That went well.
And again,
but yeah,
I am against the death penalty. Do I think that she like deserved to get out of prison? No, I don't believe that the state should have the power to murder people because the state doesn't know what the fuck it's doing.
I also wonder, like, they call her Death Row Granny. I'm like, I never heard about her kids again. Like, do we know? Like, was she a grandma or like
is she
people
even a mother at this point?
Right. But after she was killed, like I said, like. One, due to the fact that she was the first woman executed after the death penalty was reinstated. And two, yeah, like that contradiction between like she murdered 6 people. She looks like a grandma and like sweet and nice. Honestly, some of the pictures I saw of her, I'm like, she doesn't look sweet and nice. She does look like a grandma, but she doesn't look sweet.
I met that woman and she's the Karen that bitches at you because you filled up the cup of ranch incorrectly.
Yeah. But like, so her case sparked a ton of debate, both about like, women in the prison system and women in the death penalty, you know, like, but it was hard to tell like what the debate was. Was it like they were more horrified that she was getting put to death because she was a woman, or because they were horrified because she was a woman who killed people, or because she like looked like a granny, or because like arsenic feels very old school, or like her case just like straddled this really weird like thing of like true crime and gender dynamics and like Victorian morals and she's the death penalty morals in general. Like it was just this weird space.
She's kind of defying category. You know, a woman who kills feels like a contradiction historically. And
it's definitely not.
It's absolutely not, but it feels that way. You know, there are plenty of women who have gotten off or gotten lesser sentences because it's like, but women don't have agency. Like seriously, sexism hurts everyone.
I mean, you think even in our lifetime,
an older lady who's, oh my God, but she looks like my grandma who's killing people. I don't know. Like she's kind of doing this contradiction on a level of gender, of age. I'm sure the way she behaved impacted it. Well, what's also really sad is, and again, she is solely responsible for her behavior and her actions. And at the same time, she did not receive the support or help that that perhaps could have like addressed this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, there are failings systemically that had contributed to this. That being said, there are a lot of people at the same time who went through her similar situation and didn't murder a bunch of people.
Exactly.
So all these things can be true at the same time. All of these contradictory statements can be true at the same time. And that's why life is confusing and terrible sometimes.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. I get it's a thing. But yeah. So yeah, that's Velma Barfield, the death row granny.
Wow.
But it's a grim reminder that like appearances can be deceiving. And that sometimes the scariest person in the room is the one offering you a glass of arsenic-laced sweet tea. But like you think about it, like, because even when we were growing up, like there was stranger danger, which was general, but it was also kind of like, don't get into the car with the man.
100%.
And what we saw in that time was men started taking on female accomplices because people would get into a car with a woman, because even in the 90s, people were like, women don't do that stuff. And it's like, yes, we do.
They were weaponizing those gender roles and those gender expectations. Absolutely.
But it's the same thing. Like, I've covered other grannies that kill. Like there was Juana Barraza, the luchador granny murderer.
Yeah.
Like she was a luchador. She didn't murder luchadors.
You love
there was
old
the other
women
one that
who
made
kill.
Like cookies for like I've covered some weird people.
Yeah, you love old women who kill.
It's just like
you've covered several
I want to
people.
break this stereotype, Emily. Yeah. Old people kill people too. And 52 is not that old.
You know, the next protest that I joined,
gonna have a sign that says old people kill
people too.
And women.
And sometimes they're orange.
And women kill people too.
Yes, and sometimes they're orange, man.
Yeah, right?
So,
but yeah, so that's Velma Barfield, the death row granny that you may or may not have heard of and maybe never wanted to.
The name was vaguely familiar because Velma is obviously not a common name that we hear anymore. I did not know that whole story, and like, Jesus Christ, girl.
Well, I think it's interesting that like, yeah, no one really knows. Like, did she set the house fire? Did she kill her second husband and just doesn't admit it? Did she kill Montgomery and not just Dolly? Like there are other deaths that surround her that she didn't confess to and may or may not be on her.
I think with her first husband, there are two possibilities. She poisoned him and set the house on fire and like left with her kids because she didn't want to kill her kids. Or
she just lit the house on fire.
Well, actually, I was going to say, or it genuinely was an accident, and that's when she realized,
unrelated, yeah.
Oh my God, him dying has fixed all of these problems I had.
Right.
This is a great idea, because it feels weird that she went from arson to arsenic.
Yeah.
It feels almost like a de-escalation. Or
it could have been like maybe because if he's drinking, maybe he was smoking, like maybe he did it to himself on accident.
Yeah, and then that's when she realized, oh my God, if this person was just dead, my life would be so much easier. And that was her solution, because of course she did not grow up with healthy relationships.
Yeah.
Holy shit, girl.
Yeah.
Thankfully, mine is...
You're the balance.
Mine is more detached from reality.
Cool. I like that.
So like it's still not a happy story, but it is detached enough from reality in our present time where I think we can all just kind of get on board with it. So today I am whining about Okiku, or Bancho Sarayashiki, the dish manor at Bancho, or, as I like to call her, the justifiably bitter well ghost. We're going to get into
There was so many different titles in that.
There was so... I first of all, I bombarded you with the Japanese.
I know, and I'm like, I don't know what any of that means.
And then I just got real weird with it.
The justifiably bitter well ghost.
Yes, so we're going to get into it. It's all going to make sense. I promise.
Yeah, probably
Crossing
not.
my fingers. So... we were all traumatized in 2002.
Yes. I don't even need you to finish that.
Yes, we were all traumatized. Remember when we all like went to school one day and then found out that thousands of people died in a terrorist attack, and we were like,
trauma.
Oh shit, so this is the world now.
Yep.
So we were all traumatized in 2002 by a little lady named Samara.
Oh yeah, The Ring.
Yes. When this string-haired bitch in white crawled out of that well and subsequently out of our televisions and into our nightmares, we all became very wary about the source of our VHS tapes.
Yep.
And for our younger listeners, Google VHS tape. I'm not explaining it to you. It's like a DVD, but less complicated.
Yeah.
But also less efficient. Anyway.
You also had to rewind them.
Yeah. Be kind, rewind.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of a dead girl fueled by vengeance was not The Ring's creation. It goes back hundreds of years to Okiku, the justifiably bitter well ghost. Also,
I suppose because, Samara was buried in a well.
Yep.
Well, thrown down a well.
She was thrown down a well and she was dying or died. I don't totally remember. I had a friend.
At some point she died.
I had a friend around that time whose dad took a lot of trips to Japan, and he would bring back like anime and Japanese horror movies. So in the course of one sleepover, I watched.
Do you watch like all the Japanese ones?
We watched The English Grudge, Japanese Grudge.
Japanese ones are so much more horrifying.
And then The English Ring. We might have watched The Japanese Ring, but basically I got like double teamed by two of the most iconic horror movies of the era. I remember trying to sleep and it was not happening.
No.
I was so fucking, and that like sound that The Grudge makes, the like creaking. I won't do it because I know I'm going to trigger a bunch of people. It still creeps me out. It still ruins me. I won't watch those movies anymore. So
good to know.
According to family lore,
Ooh.
Okiku, which means chrysanthemum, was a servant girl working at Himeji Castle. Okiku spent most of her time washing dishes. It was hard work, but it was a living. Despite her low station, Okiku possessed great beauty, which attracted the attention of a samurai named Aoyama.
Shocking.
Like in these stories, it's always like, she's super cute, and that's what ruined her life.
Yeah.
Like, it's like being pretty is this fatal it's something that you should be, but it also attracts danger and fatality. Yes. Now, the legends don't typically say this outright, but Aoyama was the kind of guy who hits on the girl at the bar, and after you say you're not interested, continues to pester you until inevitably calling you a fat bitch that
He's
didn't
a nice guy.
think was hot, that he didn't think was hot anyway.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's just trying to be nice. He's just trying to fucking compliment you. Why you gotta be such a stuck-up, frigid bitch?
Yeah. I did quotes because you guys can't see me.
God.
He's a nice, like one of those typical nice guys.
We have all met Aoyama. Mm-hmm. So Aoyama hit on Okiku relentlessly, but she wasn't interested. Why?
Like, no, bitch.
It doesn't fucking matter. She said no, and it was an explanation.
It literally doesn't matter why she wasn't interested.
Also, the second you tell someone no and they don't respect that, now that's why you're saying no.
Yeah. The original reason no longer matters.
Any original reasons don't matter. You're now a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
So instead of leaving her alone, Aoyama decided that if he couldn't convince her to be with him out of harassment, he would trick her into being with him.
That's gross.
It's like how every Disney movie starts, right? It's how every fairy tale begins. A man tricking a woman into sleeping with him. As a dishwasher, Okiku was in charge of a lot of expensive dishes that were more than 10 times her life. Like a fraction of a dish was worth way more than she was. One set of 10 dishes were particularly precious. They were like the emperor's or the lord's favorite. One day, Aoyama hid one of the precious dishes. He then called Okiku, reporting that one of the lord's dishes was missing. And if it wasn't found, she would pay with her life.
Jesus Christ.
Again, her life is worth nothing to everyone around her.
I know, but still.
It's so sad. In a panic, Okiku took the dish set and counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She counted aloud again and again, but to her horror, finding only 9 each time. Aoyama feigned pity and compassion for Okiku,
of course,
saying that if she would become his mistress, not his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
His mistress.
It's not even like, I want to marry you. It's just, I want to bang you.
I'm not even going to give you any like legal protections that might be offered to you as a woman at this time. I just want to fuck you.
Whenever I want.
Exactly. So if she would become his mistress, he wouldn't tell their lord that it was Okiku who had lost the dish. Despite the risk to her life, Okiku would not submit to Aoyama.
Fuck yeah.
And once again told him to get fucked.
She's like, no, I still don't want to fuck you.
Aoyama had experienced more rejection than his fragile ego could handle.
Shocking.
He ordered his own servants to beat Okiku with wooden swords. He then took the beaten girl and strung her up, suspended over the castle's well.
Jesus Christ.
Again and again, he dunked her into the well, nearly drowning her before pulling her out and beating her. It's unknown how long this torture went on, but to Okiku,
it literally doesn't matter.
It must have felt like an eternity. One last time, Aoyama demanded that Okiku submit to his sexual desires. And one last time, Okiku said,
just beat me. Fuck you.
No.
Yeah.
Aoyama struck Okiku with his sword before letting her body fall down into the well. Surely, no one would miss one lowly servant. it was over, and Aoyama had gotten the last word. Now, here's the part in the story where I was like, okay, water is very important. At this time, like, an estate might have one source of fresh water, which is
you're
the
just
well.
Poisoning everyone.
You just put a decaying body in there. That's going to be a problem for literally everyone.
Like, even if they don't care about the person, the fact that you just, put a body in their well is a problem.
But moving on. Not long after, rumors began swirling around the castle. Everyone from the lowliest servants to the Lord's inner circle whispered of strange visions at night. Each reported seeing the white, glowing figure of a young woman rising out of the castle's well. The figure would then enter the Lord's dwelling, searching high and low for something. Groping around, the apparition counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still failing to find what she was looking for, the figure would let out an anguished scream that echoed through the castle. Night after night, the ritual continued. Her roar thundered in Aoyama's ears, stealing his sleep. He knew that cry. It was Okiku. Slowly, those who had witnessed Okiku's nightly ritual began falling ill.
Good.
And those who had heard her count all the way to 9 would die shortly after. But an arsenic had not been committed.
Damn it.
It's purely supernatural. Completely unexplainable.
I wanted the arsenic.
The nightly nuisance had become deadly. The lord of the castle had a priest come to expel Okiku's ghost. That night, the priest, that's an important detail. The priest patiently waited in the garden, chanting and praying. Okiku began counting. 1, 2, 3, with each word becoming more desperate. 7, 8, 9. Okiku opened her mouth to scream, but before she could, the priest suddenly shouted, 10! Okiku stopped. A look of relief washed over her face. Finally, the 10th dish was found. Okiku's spirit evaporated away, and she never returned to the castle.
Wow.
I'm going to say I'm a little pissed that what satisfied her spirit was allegedly finding the 10 dish and not Aoyama getting fucked 10 ways to Sunday. In my personal version, Aoyama is skinned alive as punishment for being a rapey, murderous fucking piece of shit.
It's valid.
But, that's just part of my telling. It's called an oral history. Okiku's legend can be among other classics in women paying for men being awful and others of that genre. That includes Medusa, the European witch trials, and like most of the Greek myths that involve women, especially Zeus fucking them and then paying for him fucking them.
Yeah. One day maybe you'll hear about it.
It illustrates the dangers from men that women faced and the physical and supernatural threat that they posed. Unfortunately, a lot of these stories don't end with justice for women wrongfully punished for a man's desire or ego. Medusa is labeled as a monster and murderer. The European witch trials led to the murders of thousands. And in all of those Greek myths, Hera was not a girl's girl and blamed the victim every fucking time. Simultaneously, these stories promote the purity of women while punishing them when that purity is violated, oftentimes against their will.
Like not by their own choice.
So in Medusa's case, she was assaulted. She was a priestess of, was it Artemis? Yeah. So she was a priestess. She was assaulted because she was supposed to be pure. And then the goddess that she served was like, oh, you're not pure anymore, even though that wasn't your fault. I'm going to turn you into a monster. Some modern interpretations do pose it as
they say it was a protection thing.
I'm going to give you the power to fuck literally anyone you look at, which I do love that. But in Okiku's case, she was punished. She was venerated for maintaining her purity and resisting Aoyama, even in the face of death, but she was also punished for it.
Yep.
Horribly so.
Like, horribly so, yeah.
Yeah. In Okiku's case, we can interpret the ending as Okiku interpretate. I'm making up so many words today.
I mean, I am too. So
we can interpret the ending as Okiku passing peacefully to the other side, but after she was harassed, beaten, and murdered, is being at peace in death all that she deserved?
No.
Is that all that any of us can hope for?
Maybe.
I put in my notes, pause while despair consumes all.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, Emily.
But that's not all. Billy Mays here with another fantastic Japanese ghost. My research for Okiku's story was slightly complicated by the fact that Okiku is also the name of another Japanese ghost. It's like it's its own genre, Okiku ghosts. So we all
well-based ghosts.
Okay, I was talking with Kelly about this earlier, and I remembered kind of the first half of my notes. I didn't entirely remember the second half, because the first half I wrote a story. I was really into it. It was very dramatic. I don't entirely remember the second half, so we're going to get into it. Because it was a while ago. I may have been drinking. We'll see. So we all know that The Ring was originally a Japanese horror movie before being remade for American audiences. Yep. Same with The Grudge. We just talked about that. The early 2000s was a really good time for Japanese horror. But you know what's quintessentially American? Chucky! The demonic denim-wearing Cabbage Patch reject was as American as apple pie, a highly marketable doll that perverts Again, I wrote these notes so long ago, and I don't remember how I intended to say them. That perverts childlike innocence by committing the same epic violence which marred the 80s. See? Apple pie. Haunted doll movies have become a popular trope in American horror, spawning popular movie franchises such as Annabelle. Kelly, you're just like so deep inside me right now.
So deep.
Except dolls have always been creepy in every corner of the globe. We were talking about the uncanny valley. Dolls fit very well into that format of too human but not quite human enough. The uncanny valley is deep and unforgiving. We're all suspect of objects masquerading as human-like.
Yeah.
Japan's creepy doll's named Okiku.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Just one. There's just one.
As well, there is an actual doll. So the legend of Okiku, it can kind of be like, oh, it's like broad, like the hitchhiking ghost.
Yeah.
A lot of places have a hitchhiking ghost. The Okiku doll, there is an individual doll.
Okay.
So in 1918, 17-year-old Ichiki Suzuki purchased a doll for his 2-year-old sister, Okiku.
Don't do it.
No, do not be nice to your sister.
No, just don't buy her
never
creepy dolls.
Never. While the world was changing, embracing technological gains after World War I, Japan was still trapped in feudalism. Modernization was coming, but the traditional ways still held strong. Ichiki had been too young to serve during the war, and now he was touring for a maritime exhibition. The doll, only 15 inches or 40 centimeters tall, was dressed in a beautifully detailed pink kimono and golden obi.
That's very pretty.
Her long black hair was cut in an okappa style, painted eyes emerging below her blunt bangs. So she's got like straight bangs right above her eyebrows, long hair, blunt ends. Ichiki felt drawn to the doll, and using the last of the money, he purchased it. When Ichiki returned home and gave Okiku the doll, she too seemed drawn to it. It was soon her favorite toy, accompanying Okiku everywhere at all times. Aww. The little girl took special care to feed and groom the doll. She even began calling the doll Okiku after herself.
Aww.
I mean, like, we all had that toy that we had, like...
we just carried everywhere with us.
Yeah, and that our parents were like, this is going to go one of two ways. Either it's not going to be a story, or I'm going to have to exercise my child.
Yep.
The following year, an epidemic of yellow fever consumed the Suzuki's village, and as the youngest, Okiku was especially susceptible to the illness. Her condition grew worse. She struggled to breathe, her body ached, and most of all, she was scared.
Yeah.
Okiku died, gasping for air, gripping her doll.
Aww.
She was one of many taken by yellow fever. So many were killed that the government had to step in and assist with mass burials.
Wow.
Ichiki and his family wanted Okiku to be buried with the doll that meant so much to her, which, like, so relatable. Do you ever see gravestones that have, like, choo-choo trains or teddy bears on them?
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating. However, governments are not known for their attention to detail, or reality in some cases, and the doll was forgotten on the family's altar. In other tellings, the family never intended to bury the doll, retaining it as a keepsake. So it's common in Japanese culture. You have an altar, you honor those who have recently died, you honor the ancestors, you put things on that altar, including their photo or picture or other things that they would have liked. It would have made sense that they kept the doll as a part of her altar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Either way, she was buried without Okiku. The family kept the doll on the altar, which was set up for mourning. They began to notice that the doll's long, straight hair was messy and filled with split ends. Then they began having nightmares. Lights flickered, voices whispered in their ears, things flew across the room, and finally, the shadowy figure of a child would sob beside their bed before disappearing. End me now.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. I'm burning myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Self-immolation. I'm done. I'm outie. The Suzuki family turned to a local shaman for help, and the shaman confirmed that the cause of the phenomenon was Okiku. Whether that was the doll or the girl, left kind of vague, and I feel like that's on purpose. Unwilling to be separated from her doll in death, Okiku's spirit possessed the doll. The family was horrified by the events and devastated that their daughter was not at rest. Honestly, that's got to be the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, it's like she died of a horrible disease, and now she doesn't get to rest peacefully.
Yeah. And like, this is kind of bringing me back to Julia, the Italian bride. And don't get me wrong, I think her mother was...
a piece of work?
A piece of work is a really good way to put it. She was also going through something, whether it was influenced by her own issues or trauma, a combination of the both. But she felt her daughter was not at rest.
Yeah.
For some reason. Whether it was because she wasn't done with her daughter or because her daughter wasn't done with her. So perhaps learning to live with the activity or even finding comfort in it, the family kept the doll until they had to move to another village in 1938. Fearing that taking the doll away from Okiku's home would anger her, the family left her in the care of Buddhist monks at the I should have practiced this. Iwanizawa Temple in Hokkaido, Japan. And that's where she stayed. The monks cared for Okiku, or the chrysanthemum doll, but her spirit was still not at rest. because she was like 3 when she died.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, 3-year-olds do not rest.
They also just don't understand.
Yeah. The monks noticed that Okiku's knee-length hair now reached her feet, then the floor, growing more coarse, more wild. The monks worked to cut and brush the doll's hair, but it continued to grow. The inexplicable phenomenon led to samples of the doll's hair being analyzed. They were alleged to be human hairs. And this feels spooky, but making dolls with human hair was actually pretty common across the world, because it was actually a lot easier to just cut off someone's hair and put it on a doll than to manufacture hair.
Well, and it was very common to make a doll of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would make a doll of your child for your child with their hair.
However, what is spooky are reports that the doll's mouth is slowly opening.
Oh, that's creepy.
Revealing baby teeth erupting through her porcelain gums.
Oh, jeez.
So this is the part of the movie where the monks wage spiritual warfare against the entity. But this isn't a movie.
Die horribly.
This isn't a movie. And say, well, someone survived. They think they defeat the great evil. There's a little teaser at the end where it's like, maybe not. And then we have a franchise. Yep. But this is real life, allegedly. Instead, the monks, having agreed to care for the doll,
just cared for the doll,
rolled with the punches and continued caring for the doll's unique needs. Okiku.
What kind of unique needs are we talking?
Like cutting her hair because it keeps fucking growing, and maybe brushing those weird little baby corn teeth. I don't know. But they like take care of her. Okiku is still housed at the Meneji Temple in Iwamizawa City in Hokkaido. At least that's what we're told. Photos of Okiku are prohibited as they might steal her soul. That doesn't mean you can't find them online. But again, it's like, are these photos of the real Okiku? Are they like recreations?
Yeah.
You know, because if you can't take photos and there are photos popping up online, is it like because people are being sneaky, or is it because it's all like a fabrication? Okiku has her own shrine in the temple, which has become a sensation. Visitors come to gawk or pay tribute to the tragic doll. This story is told as fact, and it's believable, even if you don't think the doll is haunted. Names are consistent, and it takes place in the not-too-distant past. However, several sources asserted that Ichiki, the brother who bought the doll, was actually Okiku's sister, or they did have contrary details. So while the general thread of the story is similar, there are some key details that are inconsistent.
Yeah.
And while Okiku is in fact enshrined in the temple, the veracity of her spiritual power is debatable. Allegedly, the monks continue to trim the growing hair and keep her in good condition. Whether the story is based in truth or a clever local legend to trap tourists, I'm not risking pissing off a supernatural toddler to find out.
Like, they grew teeth in a doll. Like, that's creepy.
So that is the story of Okiku, the justifiably bitter well ghost, and Okiku, the supernatural toddler.
Yeah.
Or I labeled these notes Okiku times 2.
Yeah.
Double Okiku. You thought you were listening to this. You thought you were listening to this to just get one story about Okiku. You got 2. You didn't even know there was 1, and you got 2. That is the high quality content that this podcast is producing and has been producing for 6 years.
Congrats.
Also, I did these notes before we met Linfamy.
Yeah.
So we'll talk more about the conference in a different episode, but we got to attend a conference in San Francisco, put on by the nonprofit for Pacific Atrocities Education. And what they do is they work to bring to light the genocide that was committed against the Chinese, the Koreans, the Taiwanese, the Thai people by the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II, because
basically the rest of Asia.
It definitely does not get the same attention that the Holocaust does.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but
we're not going to get into it.
One of the other media people who were invited were Linfamy. Yeah, there was a YouTuber, there was another podcaster.
There's a range. There was newspapers. There was
It was amazing. So one of the people that we met was Linfamy, who has a YouTube channel. He's a full-time YouTuber. Egg had actually been watching his videos prior, and he's like, "This is sounding really familiar." And then we watched.
It's animated Japanese history.
Yes, and we watched his videos back in the hotel room, and Egg is like, "Oh my god,
I recognize the art." Yeah.
Yes, I have been watching this guy's videos. He was very sweet. He said some nice things about the podcast.
He was very nice.
Again, I wrote these notes before that, so if I was like, "Oh yeah." I love covering Japanese ghosts during Halloween and Christmas because you guys have a lot of like wintry themed ghosts.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Who's your favorite?" And Emily's like,
Well, no, I said my favorite is, he goes, "Let me guess, Yuki Onna," who I have covered, but I said, no, it's the powdered face hag because she's a fucking mess going door to door being like, "Yeah, booze."
Yeah.
And I'm like, #relatable. So Linfamy, if you hear this, this is retroactively dedicated to you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for teaching us about geisha birth control and wakashu.
Yeah.
Seriously, go check his shit out.
It's so good.
The walls in that hotel were so thin that we were not the only people who learned about that.
Both of those.
I could hear people coughing from 2 rooms away.
Exactly.
Okay. Everyone in that building knew what a wakashu was now.
And they're welcome.
And they're better for it. So, Kelly.
Yes.
Should we read from the Book of Being Brave now that we've confronted ghosts and murderers? Yeah. They're so
Old
cool.
People, man. They kill people too.
Old women kill people too.
All right. Day 16. Believe you are never alone. Well, that's creepy.
Well, now that I have this haunted doll stalking me.
When Ruby Rubin made it clear that she wanted me to move to Nashville, I was terrified. I barely like to go to the bathroom alone. I certainly didn't want to move to a new state alone. To live in a place other than Georgia felt absolutely foreign. On New Year's Day, I told my 2 best friends, Haley and Molly. We sat in Haley's living room as I shared the story, and thankfully they were on my side. The side that said moving was a lunatic idea, and I had for sure made it up. "If you want to be a writer," Haley said, "can't you just do that in Atlanta? There have got to be a lot of Atlanta writers around." For a solid 20 minutes, we brainstormed.
I thought she was in Scotland.
I think she was born in
It sounded like she was studying in Scotland. She probably went back to Atlanta.
She was born in Georgia, moved to Nashville, moved to Scotland, and then went back to Nashville. I think we're like skipping around in the timeline.
Okay. Why am I trying to make sense of this? No one cares.
For a solid 20 minutes, we brainstormed. Then we stopped and tears leaked down our faces as we realized the truth. Ruby was asking me to be braver than I had ever thought possible, and it was going to bring sadness to us all. I was about to willingly walk into a season when I would feel very alone. Then August came along, and all of a sudden it was done. The thing that had been in front of my mind and prayers and worries was no longer off in the future. It was here. I was here. No friends, no church, no family, no idea where to find the post office, grocery store, or hospital. Alone. Or at least I felt alone. But I wasn't.
Was Ruby Rubin there?
Do you know what Emmanuel means? It is one of Ruby's names, and it means Ruby with us. Because Jesus, I was like, I don't remember what name we picked for that.
I think Jesus is fine.
Paid the price for our sin. Ruby is always with us. They said she would always be with us until the end of time. See, even when you feel alone, you actually aren't. She is the one who sticks with you no matter what, and you are brave enough to believe that what she said is true. She is always with you. Believe it. Do the hard thing Ruby is leading you to do, because you are never alone. Just So be brave. Just look in the mirror today and say to yourself, friend, you are never alone. I do this a lot, and it is such a good reminder.
Was that you saying that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Says it.
The author says it. Okay.
Just hope when you say it, you don't see something else staring back at you other than yourself.
I mean, if you see a creepy Japanese doll
Run!
behind you, then you truly never are alone.
Right.
Just make sure to give her a trim every, couple months. That hair needs some attention. Brush those little baby corn teeth. God damn. What I think is so interesting, especially when we read texts that are based in Christian religion, is that the advice that they're offering and the things that they're talking about is like, yeah, you're never alone, and like do the hard thing and ask yourself the hard questions. You don't have to have a religious structure to do these things and to feel these things. And actually, not that I'm accusing anyone of being a cult, but one of the ways that Scientology gets people, I mean, we are a funerary cult. We own that. We are branded. Mm-hmm. Join us if you want to hear Kelly get wasted, or the deadline will have passed by the time this comes out.
Hopefully you met it.
Well, here's the thing. You can join and then still hear that delicious content if we did it, because God, please make it happen. I need this. You guys, I fucking need this. Anyway.
No, see, we'll still do it anyways. They just don't get to see it.
Fuck you. No. But one of the reasons that Scientology, like one of the ways that they get followers is they give very basic advice, like box breathing or stretching and things that actually work.
It's the reason like psychics can go on TV, pick a random person out of the crowd and know something about them. It's because like things in newspapers. They give very basic advice,
Yeah, like horoscopes. People kind of,
or even the like, oh, take this quiz and we'll tell you like based on your eye color, like what you should do this month. Basic advice.
But like even like, okay, take deep breaths when you're stressed or stretch or do this. Things that we know actually work, but because they come from this source, aka
we're more
Scientology,
likely to believe them.
It lends credence to everything else that they tell us.
Yeah.
But we don't need inherently the larger institutional framework,
whatever it is,
for these things to work and for these things to have a positive impact on our life. Now, if that's what's helping you, great. But no, seriously, don't join Scientology.
I mean, no, yeah,
just don't fucking do it.
But
just
I meant like, if there's something that helps you, that's great.
No, and that's what I like about this. It's asking the hard questions, doing the hard things, and you might find yourself in a situation where you're like, I don't even know where the fucking post office is. You know what? You can figure it out.
Right.
Ask Lady Google. She will direct thee.
As will Ruby.
As will Ruby. Ruby will give you the answers, and Ruby will tell you to Google it. And Ruby will also tell you to listen to this podcast and to like us on Facebook at Whining About Herstory, Instagram at WAHpod.
That was a beautiful change.
Thank you.
Our website is whiningaboutherstory.com, where you can listen, or you can find all of our episodes. You can probably listen to them too. You can also find a link to all of our websites and our social medias. You can also find our merch and our Buy Me a Coffee, where you can donate $5 to sponsor a glass of wine, or $15 to sponsor an entire bottle that will find something similarly somehow related to you, or whatever you tell us. You can also, as we mentioned before, donate to our Patreon for $1 a month, and you get some bonus content, which may or may not include me drunk rambling about Greek gods if we met our goal, but we also do monthly happy hours and things like that.
They're really fun. Some people wake up at 2 a.m. from across the world to join them. That's how good they are.
Set an alarm to make sure they get up at 2 a.m. and then join us for 2 hours and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I feel so honored every single time.
I cannot even begin.
I know.
Also, rate us 5 stars wherever you listen because it pisses off all the right people. They know who they are. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Whining About Herstory. I'm Emily.
I'm Kelly.
Have an empowered day, y'all. Bye. Don't do an arsenic.
Seriously,
you guys.
don't do it to yourself or anyone else.
It's just such a shitty, it's a dick move, you guys. It's a dick move.